Hey, y'all, watch this. Today I'm going to make some kimchi. So, here, hold my beer. Kimchi is kind of popular nowadays because of health thingies. People think it's good for them, and it is if it's done right, and it can be bad for them if it ain't done right. So, make sure you do it right. It's not that hard to do right, but if anything goes wrong, it could be bad. So, the bugs in the kimchi are different than the bugs in your stomach. And you realize that we're just ourselves. We're not just ourselves. We're an association of different organisms. We got lots of little bitty microorganisms in our gut, lots of different ones, and we couldn't survive without them. Technically, it's called a symbiotic relationship. So, we're not just us, we're us and a whole bunch of different little bitty microbe bugs. And as you know, most microbe bugs ain't bad for you. They don't make you sick, they don't kill you and stuff like that. But there are ones that make you sick and kill you. There's also ones that just give you Montezuma's revenge. So that can also happen. So you got to be kind of like Glinda the Good Witch of the North and say, is this a good bug or a bad bug? You only want the good ones. You don't want any of the bad ones. But what happens is the amount of different bugs you got in your gut tends to determine how strong your immune system is. And the more of them you got, the longer you tend to live. So that's why kimchi is getting popular because it provides your gut a different type of bug to make the diversity in your gut greater. And your gut bacteria is one place where diversity is a strength. It might not be a strength anywhere else, but in your gut, diversity is a strength. So getting lots more different bugs in your gut actually is beneficial to your longevity and your health. So that's why kimchi is very popular because it generally generates more different bugs in your gut. The good bugs, that is. But you don't want to let the bad ones sneak in the process. So make sure you do your kimchi right and don't just take my word for it. If you're actually going to do it, since it can get bad, you need to look at other videos from other people and that way, if anything goes wrong and you doing it, you can blame them and not me. So make sure you always look up other how information from other people about doing this before you do it, and that way it's their fault, not mine, if anything goes wrong. So the basics is you're just fermenting stuff because if you just let it rot, that's when even the good bugs in air, oxygen will rot stuff and then it ain't so good anymore. And you don't want to get too many, even good bugs. If you got too many of them, it's not good for you. So you want to keep your populations of bugs under control, of the digestive bugs in your gut, because they actually eat your food, and then your cells just eat the bugs' pee and poo, and that's how your cells get their energy. But don't look at the pee and the poo of the good bugs being bad for you, because that's how you get alcohol from the fermentation of yeast, and that's how yeast farts actually make bread rise and make it softer and fluffy with the little bubbles inside. So that's not like you're eating pee and poo from a big animal or nothing, and it ain't really just pee and poo. It's broken down chemicals that your cells need. So that's that. And to make kimchi, you just don't let oxygen get into it and it ferments because the good bugs like yeast, they uh, they rot if you give them oxygen, and they ferment if you don't give them oxygen, or if they can't get to oxygen. And fermentation is good for you, and it blooms the good yeast, and that's why kimchi is popular for diversifying your gut bacterias and yeasts and bugs and whatever else is in there. I guess little amoeba type things that all help your digestion if they're the good ones that's supposed to be there and helpful. And one thing to consider though is the bad bugs are like salmonella is one of them bad bugs for us. Now salmonella is one of them good bugs for lizards. Like our major bug is called E. coli. But in a lizard, their major digestive bug is salmonella. So to avoid salmonella, just don't put the lizard poo in your food, and that's one of the best ways to not get salmonella in your food. But realize you gotta, if you got lizards around, they eat the bugs, so there's benefits and drawbacks. So you can keep the benefits and don't worry about the lizards. Just you got to clean up after them, just like you clean up after yourself. Because you don't want salmonella in your poo in your food. And you know where it comes from. You know how to clean it up and what to watch out for. So that'll help keep you safe and sound. Now, another big bad bug is botulism. That's a bug that happens when canning doesn't can right. You don't sterilize it enough, and it can happen in cured stuff that's not cured right, and it can happen in kimchi too. And that's one of them bugs that's don't just give you diarrhea; it'll actually kill you. You'll eat dinner and then wake up dead in the morning. So you definitely gotta watch other people's videos, and if that happens, you blame them, not me. So it's not really that hard to do it right, so don't be too scared about doing it because lots of people do it. I think kimchi was like a Korean thing, and then sushi's like a Japanese thing. But us rednecks, it's all just Chinese food. Now we're not just prejudiced saying that because just because we don't know all the details of how to separate all them people into their own little clicky clicks, don't mean we're prejudiced. It just means we don't know enough about them to be able to be prejudiced against one group or another. We just say, hey, they're all just that type of people. So I think it's the ones that segregate them into their little clicky clicks are the ones that are more prejudiced. So realize us rednecks really ain't prejudiced because we don't dislike people until we know why we dislike them. And that ain't a prejudice, that's just a jitters. Yeah, we don't dislike people until they show us why. That's not a prejudice, that's just a jitters. If they show us why we should dislike them, that's a jitters. We got that because we got common sense. But, this is Chinese food to us. But, if you know a whole lot more about the details of it, you can say, oh, yeah, this one's Korean, that one's Japanese, this one's whatever, real Chinese or Szechuan or Cantonese or Mandarin, it doesn't, that's all Chinese to me. Just like it's all Greek to me is saying, it's not a prejudice, but if people show you why you shouldn't like them, that's a jitters. And having a jitters is not a problem. It's just recognizing people that you oughtn't associate with. Yeah, disliking criminals ain't being a bigot. It's just not being stupid. So, no problem associating with all the Chinese. If you can't tell them apart, then there's no reason to be prejudiced against any clicky click group. So, in the kimchi, you make it just by stick it in a, curing food the old-fashioned way. You stick it in a jar and don't let air get into it. Take milk, for instance. That'll tell you about good bugs and bad bugs. They're actually microbes, might be a better word for them than bugs. So, yeah, good microbes, they turn milk into yogurt and cheese. But if it ain't a good microbe, then your milk gets like sour, bad milk, throw it away. Okay, most kimchi, they just stick this Chinese cabbage in there and ferment it. Uh, that works, but you can stick all kinds of other stuff in here. And what I like to do is just cut off the greens and the stems. And you got the green part, it's good for other stuff, and you got the stems, which are good for the kimchi. And you wonder, the greens are good for other recipes. Like you got a recipe that says wrap it in a grape leaf, and you're saying, well, where the heck am I going to find a grape leaf around here? All the wine comes in a box. There ain't no grape trees around here. Where am I going to get a grape tree leaf? So this stuff makes a good leaf to wrap stuff in, pretend it's a grape leaf. And then the Chinese cabbage stems can go in your kimchi. Now for kimchi, you just stick it in a jar and cure it the old-fashioned way. Here's a jar we got for it. And not too hard, just stick the stuff in a jar. And you can stick a lot of other stuff in the jar too. Like I cut up a zucchini, it can go in there. And you got basil. Throw some basil from your garden in there. We got this weird looking parsley. It can go in there. We got broadleaf culantro. It can go in there. Well, if it fits, I should have put it in first since it likes to go up and down lengthwise. But yeah, just stuff it on in there. And then you got the parts of the chives that ain't chives. It's like the end of the green onions. Because that's what chives are. They're just green onions. And you got stuff all that in there. And you can even put rosemary, since you put in basil. Now, on the rosemary and the basil, they got stems. Now, look at that rosemary stem. That's just a stick. Them sticky stems you don't want to throw in there because they're not going to turn into food just because you stuffed them into a jar and kimchi-ified them. The same with your basil stems. Now, basil's got a stem where part of it's like a woody stem and the other part's like a floppy stem. You can go ahead and put the floppy stems on in the jar. They'll turn into food. Yeah, and let's see, throw in a little bit more of the zucchini since we got space. And if you got extra space, you can even toss in an egg or two. Not going to hurt nothing. Eggs are fun to eat. So you just do that. Then you come over here to the sink. And you fill this thing up with water to get all the air out. The idea is you get all the air out because what you want to do, if things get oxygen, they rot. If things don't get oxygen, they don't rot. That was the trick to the old-fashioned way of storing stuff. Was just store it in a jar and not let the oxygen get to it. So there you go. You store it up. You plop it on the lid. And now that's all ready to ferment, kimchi-ify. And you don't really need any special root cellar or all like that, like you see on them prepper videos. You just stick it in the corner, put your other stuff around it, and give it some time. And without the oxygen, it'll ferment. Now, do not put sugar in there or sweet stuff because that'll make the yeast grow crazy. And it might explode your jar even with all the pressure from all the fermentation from the sugars. And the idea is you want a diversified gut biome of all those different microbes. And this kimchi is designed to increase the diversification of your gut biome microbes by having all these different things grow under fermentation, all of the bugs in there. That they got the microbe bugs. And some microbe bugs ain't always good for you, but they rot stuff. Usually the fermentation ones aren't bad for you. But you do get, you could grow salmonella or get Montezuma's revenge if it don't come out right, or worst of all is botulism and die. So if you're going to do this at home, make sure you watch other people's videos and if anything goes wrong, you blame them, not me. Yeah, the Korean kimchi is usually real hot with hot sauce in there too, but you don't want your kimchi any hotter than you want your chicken wings, so you don't have to put any hot sauce in at all if you don't want a hot food. If you want a hot food, add the hot chicken wing sauce or some other hot sauce. Now that's a good video worth sharing.